I wanted to talk about one of my favorite books of all time, a book that actually changed me profoundly, and that book is the Tao Te Ching. Now, if you haven't heard of this book, this was written back in 1500 BC by a Chinese monk called Lao Tzu, and he basically laid down this book, the principles in this book, as he was leaving his town, and a local farmer stopped him and said, "Master, you're leaving us." And he was retiring, basically going off into the woods kind of a thing. And he said, "Master, you're leaving us. Please at least tell us how we should propagate your teachings." And he said, "You should not." But this guy persisted. And so Lao Tzu laid down all these principles in a book which then became the Tao Te Ching. So it's a really profound book. If you haven't had the chance to read it, I really recommend checking it out. This is one of those books which you just should not read, but you need to feel the book, you see, because the words don't make sense right off the bat. Right away you won't understand what the book is trying to tell you. You have to let the words work inside your mind. Sometimes you read it and come back to it years later to actually understand what was being said. Having said that, what are the 3 lessons I learned which you can apply to your daily life? Because philosophy is not, by in itself, is not good, right? It's just words. Unless you can translate it to something you can apply in your daily life, philosophy has no real meaning. It has to be practical. So one of the first practical lessons I learned from this book is that, you see, oftentimes we resist. You see, we don't assist in our life. So the lesson was, assist, don't resist. What does that mean? It basically means that in our daily life, we are always fighting our emotions, fighting our feelings, fighting our thoughts, fighting the current life situation we are in, resisting all the time, not accepting how we feel about someone or about something. Let's say we are in a financial situation, don't have enough money, we need to change our jobs. And so a lot of us get trapped in this mentality where we are constantly worrying or resisting our current state. And so basically the book says, accept whatever is in your life at the moment. Accept whatever thoughts you're having, accept whatever feelings you're having. If you're having angry feelings, accept them. If you're having frustrated feelings, if you're having depression in your life, accept it. What happens when you accept something and not resist it, not constantly fight it, is that the energy you're wasting in this fight, the energy you're wasting in constantly battling your emotions, battling how you're feeling from moment to moment, this energy is being wasted. This energy now is not wasted when you accept it. And it gets stored in your mind, in your body. And at some point, the energy becomes so large that you have an inspiration to act. And from that inspiration, when you act, you solve the problem you are currently in. That is the logic behind it. Now, when most people hear it, they interpret it the wrong way. There's 2 ways to interpret this statement of always assist, don't resist. They interpret it in such a way that if I am, for example, overweight, I need to lose weight, I know that I'm overweight and I need to become healthy. They say this statement means that you accept your state of life, whatever you are in, or you are in a bad job, you need to change your job. You accept the fact that you're in a bad job and you accept it forever. That is, not do anything about it. Just sit around waiting for a stroke of luck, waiting for something to change, waiting for somebody else to come in and change your life situation. And that is the wrong way of interpreting this. This is not an invitation for inaction. This is not a recommendation to not do anything and just sit twiddling your thumbs or not doing anything, waiting for an outcome. What this means is accepting your reality for the time being, momentarily, and every moment from there on. Accept it in this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment, but not forever. See, there is a crucial difference. Accepting it to the point where your acceptance is so complete that you face your reality, face your life situation head on. You see what it is clearly, without becoming negative about it, without cribbing about it, without complaining about it, without worrying about it, without losing sleep over it. Now you see the problem clearly, and therefore you know exactly what you need to do, because you see the problem clearly, and you see you need a certain amount of energy to see the problem clearly for what it is. Perhaps you realize you need to change your job because you just don't love what you're doing, and by making a slight change, by making a slight variation, by learning a particular skill, you can actually enjoy your current job. Perhaps you realize that, or perhaps you realize if you want to make a diet change, there is just one small thing you need to change. Maybe stop eating sugar, maybe stop taking that one meal you take when you are really frustrated during the day. You see, you have these insights, but to have these insights, to make those changes in your practical life, you need to have a certain amount of energy, and that energy you don't have if you're wasting it by fighting how you feel, by fighting how you think. So accept your present moment, become one with it, completely follow with it, totally accept it. If you don't know, you don't know. Accept it, and then out of that acceptance you will know. So that's the first lesson I learned. Don't resist, assist. Don't fight, accept. The second thing I learned is quite as profound as the first one, was that there is no such thing as good or bad. See, the politician you hate is not as bad as you think he is, and the politician you love is also not as good as you think he is. See, good and bad are just labels, and we put these labels upon people, on situations, on conditions, circumstances, because our primitive brain wants to understand these things. So the label good or bad is kind of a conceptualization. Oh, this is good, and so I can stick to this, or this is bad, I need to stay away from this. You see, it makes things very simple. Labeling things good or bad makes things very simple, and it helps our brain make decisions faster and faster, quicker and quicker. But just because you can make a fast decision doesn't mean you are making the right decision. If you let go of these labels of good or bad, see, calling one person good and calling the other person bad, calling Obama great and calling Trump bad, for example, if you can let go of it and honestly let go of it, then you begin to see nuances. You see, then you begin to see things not in black and white but in gray. You start seeing the good side and the bad side within the good side, and the good side and the bad side within your previously conceived notion of what is bad or what is wrong. And therefore you begin to have a more informed understanding of the world, a deeper, more subtle understanding of the world. And you start realizing that things are more similar to each other, people are more similar to each other than they are different. You begin to put yourself in other people's shoes. You begin to see the world from their point of view. And so this feeling of revulsion, of hatred you have about anybody or anything starts to dissolve. And that's how people come together. See, somebody you previously absolutely hated, detested, you start thinking, not just thinking, but you start seeing why they think the way they do. If you let go of this notion that they are a bad person, and you begin to see some good things in there, you begin to see some really interesting ways of looking at the same reality that you are looking at. And in the long term, that's where the world needs to go. The world needs to go in the direction of unification, not fighting, not hating each other politically or even religiously. This religion is bad, that religion is good. Buddhism is this great religion of helping and understanding each other and understanding nature, and this other religion is bad because it talks about violence. No, that's not true. If you look at things very, very closely, you realize not everything is what it seems. And so that's one of the major lessons I took from that book, that good and bad are just labels. And if you want to understand something profoundly, you need to go beyond the labels of good and bad. The third lesson I learned from the book was choice is not freedom. Choice is confusion. What does that mean? That is, you go to a regular supermarket and you look at, especially in America, you look at, if you want to buy toothpaste or toothbrush, there is 50 different brands of a toothpaste. Which one do you choose? You see, we feel that now I am free to choose whichever I want because I have 50 different options, but those options are actually making you more confused, more chaotic, because now your brain is engaged in making a decision which is not that important, but you spend 15 minutes looking at what you want. Same with choosing your clothes, same with deciding what movie to watch. You see, we are now living in a world where making a choice is looked upon as a benefit we have, but actually that benefit is to our detriment. It is actually making us more and more confused, more and more lost in the world of information, because there is so much information out there that your brain just doesn't have the time or the capacity to handle and sort all that information out. Now what does it do then? Then it goes back to conceptualization. This is good, that is bad, you see, and starts making wrong decisions. So simplify your life. See, when you look at your life as it is and you take into account the number of decisions you're making, often unnecessary decisions about what clothes to put on, or when to wake up. Every single day you wake up at a different time. Today you wake up at 6 and 6:15, then 7 and 7:30. You see, you're making too many changes. What to eat every afternoon. Not one thing, but we want variation, right? So we decide, today I'm going to go to this restaurant, tomorrow I'm going to go to that restaurant, and every day you make a decision about it. And so all these decisions, which are not really adding a lot of value to your life, but adding a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion to your life, you can do away with all those decisions and make things very, very simple. So these are the three main lessons I learned. Assist, don't resist. Flow with life, become one with nature. Find out what nature wants you to do. Not just your own nature, but nature. See? There is no such thing as good or bad. Look beyond the words, look beyond the labels. Look for nuances, look for shades. And you see something much more. You see a world which is very different than the world you know as of now, as of today. And then choice necessarily is not freedom. Choice can mean chaos. So simplify your life. The decisions which don't add value, make them very, very simple. So that's all I wanted to share. See, a practical advice from a very esoteric book. Check it out, it's incredible.